Hello, Adobe Live. Welcome to day 2 with our live stream. I'm Julian, and I'm joined by Ambert Rodriguez. You want to say hello to the people?
Hello, everyone. Good to be here again on our day 2, and I'm excited about finishing up this project.
There you go. So we're going to jump into the project, but before we do that, I just want to just kind of remind you that there's a really great new set of challenges up on the Daily Creative Challenge. So if you wouldn't mind checking out the community page that we have set up here. So you can chat with the community and it takes you right to Discord, which is great. A really supportive community to help kind of polish your designs and give you in the moment feedback. It's really great. I'm actually a mentor there, so I'll be hopping on there later today. So to use this, it's really easy. You just scroll down to the newest challenge, which today is scrollable lists. You get started by clicking this and it downloads the source file directly. Open that up and then just start designing along. And so you're gonna join with Jesse Showalter, who's gonna be walking you through that newest challenge. And then don't be timid to revamp your challenges from the day prior, and then upload them to Discord and get some feedback. And then I feel like it's like one of the best ways to sharpen up your skills with XD and just also meet people that are also in it with you, so you can get better together. And that's kind of the beauty of it. So without further ado, I just wanted to kind of reintroduce Ambert, and the work that you're doing looks amazing, and we can't wait to see how it turns out in day 2. So you want to walk us through what you did yesterday?
Absolutely. So just a quick kind of recap of what we did yesterday. Again, my name is Ambert Rodriguez, Creative Director at Wheelhouse. We're a sports media and consumer goods brand agency and investment firm. Some of the work that we've done is, ranging from different media houses like Blockworks to Front Office Sports, to, House of Athlete, consumer good products, packaging, design and websites, to, sports agencies, and all of that, to, live streaming apps, to app design, UIUX, UX, UI, all of this. We kind of went down and broke down kind of, into 6 buckets. The design process of building a brand from scratch, to, from the brand to the website. Obviously, there's a lot of things that that go into this, but we just kind of broke this down into 6 kind of chunk steps that we can kind of go through. We went a little bit over the brief about what we're doing. So the concept is kind of create a concept design for Hyperice, rebrand of their logo and website. I did the logo already, but we're working on the website here together on Adobe XD. Yeah. Talked a little bit about how we would go through a landscape, competitive landscape, all of that before we even deep dive into a rebrand. This is the current brand of the client. I kind of showed you guys a little bit about some other logo options that I had designed previously, and we kind of got some feedback from the chat of which ones people were liking. I specifically chose option number 3. I felt like bold and it felt trustworthy. It showed up what it would look like in context. We went through a whole kind of user flow session of like how we would build this, the website itself. We went through kind of just putting this together, kind of high level, really quick, and just talk a little bit about, this process that we would go through with the client, and how we would, walk them through this so that this isn't just good for the client, but it's also good for internal design teams so they know which pages they're designing, the dev team so they know which pages they're developing and all of this. And then we went right into the next step, which was after user flow, we went right into wireframes. And we started just really quick, just putting together kind of what some wireframes would look like of the homepage. We talked a little bit about like scroll groups and all of this.
Oh, and padding and your grid system too, right?
Exactly. The 8-point grid system and all of this. And so, yeah, and then we got into a little bit of the design of the homepage, just talking about how we can, quickly put a featured product at the top. Nice. And maybe, and then we just started designing a little bit, talking about how we use different icons. I use Font Awesome as an icon set that, I can quickly put together some icons that, if I'm not specifically like designing the icons for the client, these icons are pretty clean and nice that, they would work for, right. A different array of different right. brands.
And I want to acknowledge that there's a bunch of people here, hanging out with us in the chat. I didn't say hi because it wasn't loading, but now it's loaded. Looks like Howard Pinsky's here.
Awesome.
Your buddy is visiting you.
What's up, Howard?
We got Gus. Of course we love Gus. Gus is the man. And Voodoo Val is holding it down. Steve, Mayor. So if you are joining from wherever it is that you might be joining from, just kind of let us know where that is. I'm currently in Austin, Texas. And Ambert, where are you at again?
I am in Miami, Florida.
Yeah, Miami. and then we're broadcasting from the Pacific time zone. So we're all over the map here in the United States. So it's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
We got Caitlin joining us. Hello. So yeah, also feel free to shoot questions our way. If there's stuff from yesterday that you might have missed that we're talking about today, just ask us and we'll get into it. So can't wait to kind of take this further with you and see how it goes, man. It's gonna be awesome. We got I'm Flash from Portugal.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, international here. We got Orlando, Florida. Sarah Crow.
Awesome. I love Orlando. I love Orlando. Good stuff. So I'll continue. Yesterday we got to just like down to the wire of me kind of designing this kind of collage of because the cool thing about this brand is that a lot of pro athletes use this brand. Yeah. And a lot of pro athletes are actually even invested in this brand, I believe, or they own a piece of the company. And so, they have a good kind of catalog of athletes, whether they're pro basketball, soccer, golf, mountain biking, all of this, tennis, that have endorsements with the brand. So we quickly kind of put together this collage image here. What I'm going to be using this is almost like a hero graphic space that's going to be kind of specifically talking about and showing that pro athletes use it. I'm showing them in context and things like this. But also kind of giving the site a little bit of flavor, a little bit of stylistic design into it too, where it's not just blocked content all the time and stuff like that. So, and what I want to do here is I want to just start moving into putting in a little bit of copy over this. So maybe I'm gonna start using some of these. Let's see here, some of these character styles. I'm going to start, repurposing them and using them throughout the site so they can stay consistent. And so I will just start adding these into the character style sets here.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier for when you're kind of designing as you go. You could just kind of assign the right, not only font size, but font type, and then being able to kind of apply whatever color you want to it is up to you as well.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about that too is that if I make the change, on my character styles here, in my library, in my assets, it changes throughout the entire site, no matter if I have 20 different pages or whatever.
Which workflow wise, if you're not doing that and you're kind of building a whole experience out, you're going to have to go in every line by line and resize. So this is just an easy way to kind of make bulk changes if you update one thing. Because that's kind of like the worst thing is like you're getting feedback from a client and you're like, oh, this needs to be smaller, and you got to go through every page and find every instance. And sometimes you might miss it, which, so this is a good way to keep consistent as well as save time.
Absolutely. And I come from the days when you used to actually have to do all of that manually. So this is one of my favorite things.
I love
obviously
it
with XD.
I feel like it takes a little bit of like, practice and using the tool to get used to like, using components even, or using anything that has like styles that can cascade across different pages. But once you get into it, once you start doing it, it's hard not to continue doing it, because it just makes life so much easier. Would like to know what people think too about, how they use, do they use character styles? It's like one of the most like kind of like seemingly simple features, but there's a lot that goes into making that feature. But yeah, would like to know what people think about component styles or character styles, and then also adding colors to your UI kit. If it's kind of hard for you to do, if it doesn't make sense, let us know. We'll have to kind of talk about those really kind of things that seem like they're just really basic, but they are things that are really thought about, really thoughtful features. And then we got I really like the style that you're going for here, because it's kind of breaking the grid system, right?
Yes.
With this collage, because that's like what collaging is really. It's kind of just like a rejection of the grid, like, and without being like creating brutalist websites, but being able to throw these kind of a very like stylized type of grids. They give it a lot more depth, in my opinion. So this is already looking really cool.
Absolutely, yeah, I really like it. And it kind of just, as if we want to kind of look at it as a website, actually, let me just make sure that this is at the top. Yeah, and as you're kind of scrolling through this, yeah, it kind of gives it that really good kind of vibe. It breaks it up a little bit, draws your attention to it. And obviously, if you're, an NBA fan, you right away recognize kind of, and it brings that trustworthiness that we spoke about, to the brand itself and the website.
Right. So there's really some really great questions in the chat about like, what is your kind of your greatest tool for you in your design process that you've either learned or was introduced to you over the years? Like, what do you think is your best tool in your toolkit? It could be a feature, it could be a process, it could be anything.
In XD, for example, I mean, I think the easiness of it. I mean, sometimes I don't even like, for example, I could have designed this whole thing. I don't know. I brought it into Photoshop. I could have designed this whole thing right in XD. I mean, that's one of my favorite features, or just things about XD, is that it's very versatile.
It's fast, and that's the thing.
Super fast.
It makes the life easier. Like, you could just draw a box and drop a picture in it, and it crops it for you, right? Like,
that's one of my I love that. Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that feature is amazing. And for me, like, as far as like the greatest tool for me, it's got to be this auto animate feature. And we've talked about it briefly yesterday, and how fast it is to create prototypes. And I think the ability to prototype fast is kind of the magic of these design tools, especially XD. And there's a question about that, and what is XD used for, really? And that's the great thing is, yeah, it's a design centered tool, like Howard said, but it also does a lot more. If you want to use it as a presentation tool, like you said earlier, right? You can use it as a presentation tool, even if you're not a designer. Like, you can, you wanted to put something together for your kids' project, right? You can use XD, and you can embed animations into it, and it's really solid. What do you think about like using tools for what they're not meant for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, another really great feature that I like too is that when you're prototyping this, you can record the video of it, which is super helpful, especially for for mock-ups or just presenting it to the client. I mean, that's one of my favorite features, where I can record the video of me kind of interacting with the prototype itself. I love that. I love that feature as well.
Yeah, that's a fantastic feature. There's also adding audio. You can add audio to your prototypes, all kinds of great things. I feel like for me, there's one tool that I have been using quite a bit, and I've talked about it quite a few times before, is the Google Sheets plugin. I don't know if you've used it. So the whole plugin ecosystem also is really fantastic. If you haven't gotten a chance to like explore plugins and how they can work for you, everybody has their own workflow styles. I really do think utilizing plugins is a great way to kind of refresh your workflow. And like Google Sheets is great because you can populate fields into your components automatically. It's great, and images can populate automatically too. Some really great tools there. And Howard Pinsky mentioned some too that are really great for exporting to code, because you can do developer handoff, and what can help you with that is a plugin like Anima. And Anima is a great plugin that allows you to kind of structure everything in your document, in your files, so that way when it exports, it kind of creates divs and everything is kind of seamless and just translates well to HTML, CSS. Because at the end of the day, what your best friend is as a designer using this design tool, Adobe XD, is what is your layer names? Like layering and layer naming and making sure all that stuff is kind of accurate is really the most important part if you're going to hand off. Because that, if you use a plugin like Anima, can really kind of export directly into code. So really fantastic tool there. If you haven't checked that out, I really highly recommend it. We'd love to see how that exports out in real time. Yeah. So yeah, so we got some other questions here. Let me see what we got. I'm gonna slide up here. There's a lot of chatter in the chat.
So while you're looking at that, what I'm doing now is I'm just continuing this design here. Just looking at kind of the wireframes, just starting to build out some of this content and what you would normally kind of see in an e-commerce website. I'm going to try and finish up this homepage. So the plan is finish up the homepage, create what this products drop down would look like, animate that as well. So prototype it as well. Prototype what it would look like when you add a product to your cart, and that little checkout pop-up comes
right
in, and stuff like that. So hopefully we get to all of that before time is up today.
Yeah, nice. So Vudaval asked a great question. Do you have any difficult design job stories that you could share, and perhaps some advice on how to solve those problems you faced?
Difficult design job stories.
Off
the top of my head, I mean, I have to think through some of that.
I could start, and then if something kind of pops in your head, feel free to kind of talk about your story. So for me, I've had I wouldn't say like necessarily like a super difficult, but it's a lot of it is relationships. And so whenever you are working with a developer, working with a product manager, whoever it might be, there's going to be styles that clash. So I think a lot of it is really around like how we communicate to each other. So communication styles is really important. But for one, I had like an ask to like iterate on this design, and I felt like by using your design system, it should kind of leverage like how the product could be, or how the product should be working. But there's always that time when you present your designs and someone really uses this word, is like, can you make it pop? You make it pop, make it pop more, right? And so
yeah.
So then like you redesign it and you make it pop, right? And then they're like, you show it and they're like, yeah, I think there's too much pop.
I guess what does make it pop mean, right? Like
I've been trying to figure that out, and I actually thought that was like a cliche thing that people said, but it's actually real, and and it's hard for like sometimes for non-designers to kind of communicate what like I want it to like look nicer or look prettier or whatever without saying that. And a lot of times it's just a matter of like the expectation that people have about what they're going to see and what you've made. And sometimes trying to stay within those lines of a design system can be kind of hard. And I think that brings me to a question is kind of like, when you have a design system created, how is it for you to kind of, innovate your design outside of the design system without breaking the design system? And what happens if you do?
Right. I think for me, it's as long as the brand story kind of gets told, I feel like, and that's one thing. Like, I've worked with a lot of designers in the past where, you have a design system and it's kind of like it becomes like a hindrance to think a little bit outside the box because there is a design system, right?
Right.
And I think the important thing is to you can live in that system, but you can play around in this system. Right. I don't know how to explain that. Maybe that's a good way to explain it. But as long as there's no like direct violation or like, you're not necessarily, like, for example, let's say, this image right here, I'm still in the design system because I'm still using the brand fonts. I'm still using, what I mean? I'm still telling the story of pro athletes using the product. I'm still kind of within the grid, right? I'm still using the grid that I'm asked to kind of create in. And so, I mean, I think that maybe can answer that a little bit.
I think, yeah. And that plays into like, what popped into my head is like the great feature of collaboration that we have. Right. And, understanding that when you do collaborate with people, they have maybe a different idea of what, how the design should unfold. And that's the great part about the collaboration process, is being able to introduce diverse understandings of what good design means. But that's what's cool about the design system. It's supposed to unify you. But I do feel that, when you update a design, so this is something that has happened. Like, I update a design on my side, and then it doesn't get finalized by someone else, and then it gets shown. I've had that happen. So maybe also just kind of be aware of what is the most current visual in the system, in the file. So I know that Ambert and I have we've talked about this about there's sometimes you have to push that button to publish and update that link in that prototype, and so that takes communication. And so making sure that your team is all aligned on what is the latest prototype you're showing. Because a lot of times when you're meeting with a client, especially in these times, it's going to be remote for the most part. Even before the lockdown or the pandemic, there was always a sense of being able to share designs remotely, just because it makes things faster. It's more accelerated now, but that's something that you need to do is you need to coordinate with your team before you show a design, especially if you're collaborating. That way you're showing the latest and greatest. You're not showing old designs, because there's nothing worse than laboring over designs that have been updated and then having someone show old stuff. Like, I've had that happen to me, and it's not fun, because then you're like awkward, like, no, that's not the right file. This is the right file. So that's something that I would say. If you do collaborate with teams, make sure to kind of just communicate about what's the latest and greatest design that you're working on and what version you're on. So this looks amazing already. So you kind of did some introducing some new products to the tile page here, right?
Correct. And I'm just kind of wondering if I want to make this kind of a like a horizontal scroll or something like this with multiple products. I'll come back to that, but I think this works for now.
Do you find that to be part of your process, is like you kind of think about interaction and think about motion while you're designing in the moment?
Yeah. And I'm also thinking about like, there's a lot of just people that are talking about like, do people actually, click through products on a homepage or like a slider, right? Is there, is there any data behind people clicking through some of that stuff? Most people just go to the site and it's just like a scroll. More than likely, any, people that are be visiting the site are more than likely coming, from Instagram or coming from social or something like this. So they're probably coming, on a mobile device. So anything that makes it easy, to see the content right away, as opposed to like hiding stuff, is, in my opinion, I think makes more sense.
I'm liking the simplicity of the grid, because you have like a grid above that kind of juxtaposes like the clean grid that's below, and you have that middle banner that also breaks up the content as well. And I want to also point something out that I don't know if people have noticed that Ambert's doing is there are some places where it's center aligned and some places where it's left aligned, and kind of managing that and when and where to do that is also a visual design kind of practice, right?
Exactly. And and you're also, playing with the grid here, where this almost feels like it's 1/3 of the grid, a full kind of space, again, like 1/3, two divided by 2, and then I'm going to do another full width one to kind of, play around with some of the layout here.
And yesterday, what you're seeing on the screen is the grid system that Ambert's using, which is the 8-pixel grid system. And this is going to be your kind of best friend if you're designing a layout kind of style of page, like a web e-commerce page, just like we're seeing now. But even if you get the opportunity to design like a software, like currently in my one of the projects I'm working on is a software, and it's really a completely different kind of mental model. But at the same time, I still borrow a lot of the same ideas of using the 8-pixel grid between buttons, padding on your buttons, padding on your cards, padding on all the things, because it just makes the rules, right? And that's all it is when you hand off a design, you're handing off a set of rules with pictures, and those are being translated by the developer. Yeah, this looks awesome. I like that you're kind of also introducing new color blocking too.
Yeah, and then what I want to do here is, this product, they have a really cool app. So and it's connected to to Apple Health and all of this. So anytime I go for like a cycle or anything like this, I get an alert that tells me, we've noticed that you've just done a 2-hour bike ride. We recommend you do this specific kind of recovery method or whatever. Right. And I think that's a huge plus. So I want to add that right to the homepage as like a feature of the product that that maybe separates them from any other competitor or anything like that. So nice. I'm going to design that here as a section here, and then just obviously continue again with more products and stuff like that. Nice.
So there's a question from Brandon who asks, it looks like you're designing a 900 width frame here, artboard. How do you communicate to a developer that it can actually be full width? So I guess it's a question about like responsive design and how do they know that you're working on a 900 pixel, and how do you communicate that it might have to change depending on the screen size?
Yeah, so I mean, what I would do is obviously after this is I would design the homepage too, right? Mm-hmm. So the look of what that looks like on mobile, and so there wouldn't be like any questions, or is this going to be full width? How tall is this going to be? I want it to be as pixel perfect as possible. So I'm, and I don't want to kind of leave anything up to guess. Mm-hmm. So as part of the process, I would be designing desktop and mobile view. I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, and I can supply some like other ideas depending on like maybe didn't understand the question 100%, but I think it's still a solid idea to understand about like, how do you tell your developer what a full width design is, and like if this expands. I think you can also do it in prototyping, and that's it. I think that's for me what I like to leverage is whenever I hand over a design, there's going to be a UI kit of some sort, some place where all your components are, your buttons, your link, your text, your colors, and all that, your style guide, and hopefully maybe some components. But you're also going to be able to hand over a prototype. And what the prototype will do is kind of give them your intention of behavior, which is like, what is the animation speed from one screen to the next? What is your micro animations for button hovers or for whatever type of interaction that you have that's a micro. But also, it can also then communicate what happens when you go stretch to screen. So if you have it kind of locked, then that just tells the developer, fix it at this width. But if you have it kind of stretch and expand and be responsive, which is another way you can actually build Adobe prototypes, you can actually create responsive designs. Then you have all your stuff kind of just communicated in a prototype and a UI kit, and they can kind of refer to both, one for the behavior and one for the actual assets. So that's how I approach it. Really kind of spending that time and attention to your final deliverables are going to be key to communicating those things. Yeah, and so the Cameron asks, what size layout do you like to design on? 1366, 1920,
Yes.
etc.
We spoke about this yesterday. So my artboard is 1440.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1440 is a great size. So that's like a 13-inch MacBook Pro. Mm-hmm. And you don't always want to design for like the biggest screen. It's not what most people have. It's what most designers have. What a lot of engineers all have.
16-inch screens.
Yeah, the 16-inch, 15-inch, like 27-inch monitors. Those will be kind of like your edge case. Like, what will this design look like on those? So I always start at actually 1440 as well. For me, it's just a good baseline to kind of work in like a good space that's not too big and it's not too small. And then you can also scale down from this to iPad and then to or tablet, not iPad specifically. Could be tablet or mobile. So that's for me, like, and I guess like for also to ask you, like, do you sometimes even just start with mobile, or do you kind of sometimes?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm doing them side by side, right? So if I'm doing a section at that I'm designing at the top, I'll probably design what that looks like on mobile.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really depends on the project itself.
Does yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think, and especially for this specific project, if this was a real client project, I would probably have a lot of data as to where people are coming from, how many people are visiting on the desktop versus mobile. So I would probably be designing this as a mobile first, right?
Yeah.
Designing it on mobile first, get all of that, good and going, and then, attack the desktop.
Yeah, no. And Cameron, that was a great question, because it could vary project to project. And sometimes the project does kind of have like a mobile first strategy. And sometimes it's mobile, it's web first. So it really depends. But also I think I could kind of speak for Ambert a little bit, in the sense that when we're designing these layouts, we also kind of have mobile in mind already, right? Like, we know that if you have a grid system, that the two tiles above this dark banner here, those can kind of stack. Those can stack and become mobile. So there's some of these things that, like, after you've been doing this for a little while, you kind of have like, okay, I know that this will respond well, or this will adapt well. Because this is something that's actually interesting, that I've been toying with the language of what people say when they say responsive. Is sometimes responsive isn't going to be 100%. Sometimes you need to adapt your design. Sometimes you need to actually, like, modify a component or two in a slightly, so that way it will respond correctly. So it's more of adaptive and responsive combinations. What do you think about that? Right? Is that something that you're kind of?
Yeah, absolutely. So like if you're looking at like a subnav, for example, you know, that has a pretty long kind of a bunch, like let's say you're looking at a long kind of page, continuous scroll, but there's kind of a subnav with anchor points, right? You don't want to have all of those, on a desktop, you'll see all of them. But on a mobile device, what you probably want to do is change that menu, up a little bit. So you want to be able to maybe scroll through the menu as opposed to like having another drop-down menu and maybe like, you know what I mean? So like there are some things that you want to completely change for mobile, and the way it works, so yeah, I mean,
that's exactly what I was thinking too, is there's these adaptive principles of, when you're on a mobile, you don't want to be like scrolling side to side for like too long. Like if it's like a few different tiles, that's fine. But yeah, you kind of, you get these ideas of like adapting the design, so that way like some of the UX is a little bit different, right? Like there's patterns that aren't a one-to-one. So that's the idea of like layout for thinking of mobile, thinking of desktop. There's a little bit difference.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm doing now is I'm just like trying to mock up like what an alert would look like.
Yeah.
On your phone, just to kind of have that as like a little graphic here.
Nice. Yeah. So nice. We answered some questions here. Is it possible to create an entire site in one prototype link? I'm scared that if I have a 10-page site with components, that it will be really slow. If you're thinking of Adobe being slow, no, that's not going to happen. You can have a 10-page site using XD and it will not be slow. So I don't think that will at all need to hinder your ideas or your ability to design multiple pages. You can design a whole interactive experience that is way more than 10 pages, and have like, and that's the great thing about XD, is you have these component states that allow you to kind of embed and kind of nest different interactions within one page. So you can get a lot done like that. And I wouldn't worry about your prototype being slow. Right? You've never experienced slowing on like a multi-page prototype, correct?
No, not at all. Yeah. Not at all. I think that the one thing I do love about XD is just how fast and snappy it is. I mean, so yeah, absolutely.
Design at the speed of light.
Yeah.
Life, one of those. So there was a question that Voodoo asked about receiving assets from a client, and like, what do you do when you just receive like like really horrible resolution? Because you got like such sharp images, because you're able to source them because you're controlling the input here. What do you do when you get really bad? Do you just tell them?
That's a great question. Yeah, just you just have to be communicative and just tell them, listen, we want to build something that's going to look nice, and and if you want that to happen, then you know what I mean, like you need you might need to spend a little bit of money to get the right photos taken, or Adobe stock has some great photography that you can use, even mock up some of the stuff, so all of that.
No, totally. And that's something that does happen. It happens with, like, obviously this is kind of like a meme now for designers, is like when you get a logo from the client and it's like it says PNG, but it's not. it's actually a JPEG, but it's like named .png. That happens, and this kind of touches back to like a question earlier about like, have you ever had any problems with your project that you might be working on? And for me, this is something that I've done in the past, and now I will never do again, is you get a bulk of assets from a client and you don't review them right away, right? This is really important. So if you're given like a Google Drive link or any sort of link with a bunch of assets in them, or documentation about your design, any sort of like your kind of your task list or anything like that. Be sure to comb over those as much as possible, as soon as possible, because if you're able to ask questions about all of those assets, if they're not right in advance, it just makes you a lot like more set up for success in the future. You don't want to be like in the 25th hour, like, hey, these images are really bad resolution. Well, it's like, well, you've had them for a month.
Exactly.
Like, you know, that is kind of like, I think one of the easiest ways to, if you, at least if you're working at an agency, or you're you know you're contracting and doing this, aside from like a big tech company, if you happen to have one of those roles, everything in that field is given to you and it's perfect. So don't worry about that. So yeah, that's my piece of advice: is any sort of documentation given to you by any client, whether it's an agency or just freelance, make sure to view all those files, make all those notes, and ask all those questions as soon as possible. That way you don't get any guff later. It's just a really, really great practice. Did you use video? Oh, I have another question here. Let's see. Cameron, coming with the questions. I love it. Keep them coming. If you were using raster animations, would you use video or have it inside of a Lottie file or something? So regarding animations, raster animations, videos in replacement of like coded animations, are you using Lottie currently? Is that stuff that you have comments on?
Yeah, I've had some like illustrations animated with Lottie and stuff like that. I don't know if that's the,
Yeah.
But yeah, we've done that in the past for some past clients that we've worked on.
Yeah, I feel like that is a very, very interesting topic, because I've seen, depends on budget. This is totally budgetary and skill based. If you happen to have a developer that's able to kind of hard code these animations, that's obviously the best. It's a little bit more intricate, but it's, that's some basic stuff that some developers know, but it just depends on the skill level. Regarding Lottie, personally, I think it's a really great advancement in the way that designers can potentially become front-end developers. It's a little bit more involved for most designers to kind of grapple with. I would try just to kind of rely on, if you can, using something like Lottie. But if you don't, like, there's no shame in using a video if it renders well, as a
Absolutely.
way to kind of mock an animation. Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like, I don't see anything, especially if you're kind of just doing an MVP of a product or something. Like, you just kind of got to get it out there and get people's feedback on it. And micro animations, for the most part, like, if you can't make them happen in code, I would not do micro animations that way, but like any bigger animations, definitely that's okay to do. Yeah. So this is looking cool. Like, you're getting that that kind of familiarity of the mobile user and what to expect. Kind of just like, also, but making it look different. Like, right? Like, you're not using like the exact one-to-one of what a message looks like, but it looks great.
Yeah, and I'm just obviously kind of, this is trying to do this as fast as possible, but the idea is there, right? So
yeah, and it looks good, because like, what this is telling the user is like, hey, we're communicating with you using our app. We are going to be sending you notifications. So multiple types of notifications, because you can infer that just by looking at that little illustration there. That was great.
Absolutely.
And if you're just joining us or catching us somewhere in this stream, or watching later on YouTube, I'm here with Ambert Rodriguez, and he is the creative director of Wheelhouse in Miami, in Brickell, right?
In Brickell, yeah, we're in Brickell,
downtown. So if you happen to be in the neighborhood, make sure to also check out what Wynwood Walls, right? Those are another really cool spot to check out in Miami Brickell.
That's close to it's close to the area. Yep.
Yeah.
The Wynwood is really cool. We
Lots
obviously
of
have a big
lots of great
influx of like
features.
technology happening and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
I love Miami. I've been there a few times. I have family that lives in Hialeah.
nice.
Let's see, I have a person. Yeah, Voodoo Val. I feel like if you are here as much as Voodoo is, you're gonna learn so much from just like being in these streams. There's so much assistance here. I love it. Like even like hopping into the prototype stream is just like you learn a whole bunch of different knowledge darts there versus the Illustrator stream. It's really cool to see the workflows though, and how people work.
Absolutely.
So what's ooh, yeah. See, that was quick. You want to show people what you did there? They might have missed it.
Yeah, so all I did was I just just drew out a rectangle, selected them both. Went to object. You can use a shortcut if you want to, but just mask with shape, and that's it. So now it's we have this kind of section now. Obviously, I'm starting to think it's
Right.
it needs to move to the right a little bit, but
yeah, and
looking good.
There's so many really cool things you can do with masking. So if anybody is curious, wants to check some other like really cool like animations using masks, I would highly recommend looking at past streams, especially from Andrea Marquez, our friend, both of us, friend of the show. She's an amazing designer and has really great tutorials on how to animate using the mask layer specifically. It can get really confusing. It's really intricate, but it's one of those advanced level type prototyping methods that just are super effective.
Absolutely.
That looks great.
Yeah, it looks good. So as just let me just move some of this content back up, and my layers are all messy here, but I'm just going to clean this up.
Yeah.
All right. I usually like to come back to the, just take a look at what this would look like.
Yeah. You're probably like me too. Like you have like multiple screens and like I just keep my prototype window up.
Yeah.
Right. And just
I have it up on my other screen over here. But because we're live streaming, I want to be able to see what's happening.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. No, but it's like that preview window is your best friend.
And that's one of the cool things about XD too, is that, you can, if I move this, it moves in the preview and you can see it, right away. So instant kind of gratification, for sure. Yeah, it's looking good. The only thing I don't like too much is that broken text down there, but yeah, we can play around with that.
That's awesome. Little things like that. Like, and that's another, like the question of all is like, when do you know it's done? Like,
exactly.
When do you know your design's done? I don't know.
Exactly.
Never really done.
Never really. There's always like one little thing you can fix or one little thing you can move. But yeah, I think this is looking good so far. That looks
awesome. That looks really good.
What I want to do is
I could see this on like an Apple homepage.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I want to do is I want to do one more section similar to this, but what I want to do is I want to flip it. So I want to be able to bring the text, on the right hand side.
Gotcha.
And then maybe just close off the homepage for now.
Nice.
I think that's a good kind of landing page. Multiple products, stuff like that. So I'll do that right now.
Nice. And as Ambert's doing his thing, I just want to remind folks that if you are watching us on YouTube, hop on over to Behance so that way you can kind of engage and join the conversation, ask questions. And if you're watching this on replay, thank you. This is a really great thing that you can do, is kind of go back and look at some of these videos from the past, even though I'm in the present talking about the past. Very meta here. And if you are on Behance, make sure to check out your Ambert's got a Behance page, and I'm sure that we could get the link in the chat so you can go and follow Ambert's work there. He also has his showcases from previous work. This is not Ambert's first time on Adobe Live as well, so check out some of the stuff he's done before on the show. So yeah, make sure to just, Behance is your resource. It's such a great tool. Being able to like connect with others that are in the same space as you. If they're not maybe UX designers, maybe they're illustrators, just hop on there and check us out. I'm there too. You can look up my work. I got some stuff. I need to update it though. That's one thing that is on my agenda for this. This is update my Behance. I got some projects that I've worked on that I'm pretty proud of. So I gotta get that going.
It has to be part of the process, right?
It does.
Working with a project.
Yeah.
The sharing has to be part of the process.
Right. Because if you can easily kind of just like get through a project and forget to like kind of collect those assets and publish them, and then after that you're on a new thing and you're like, all right, now my case study is just like, I got to make time for that. It's a tough thing, managing all those projects and doing case studies. So this is the other product they have, right?
Yeah, so this is one of the other products called Venom. It's like a heat and vibrating, and this is her name is Kate Courtney. She's a pro mountain biker.
Ah, nice. Do you mountain bike as well?
I've tried it.
It's a little scarier.
It's a little scarier. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely like more of a thrill.
In many ways, yeah. I know some people that have gotten, pretty hurt from that. So
it's rough on your body too. Like it's kind of, you also like have to have a completely different bike for it. Like it's not like, oh, I can use my great bike that I use for the road and then just think I could just slap some different wheels on it. Like, it's a whole setup. Like,
absolutely.
So if it's one of those that comes down to cost too. It's like, all right, can I afford all these different bikes? I mean, in an ideal world, right? I do really think that like it is kind of like a different animal, mountain biking versus road cycling. It's a whole, like, it's a different skill set almost.
Yeah. And I live close to an area where they have like really nice mountain biking trails.
Yeah.
So going from road biking to mountain biking would be really simple for me.
Yeah, I'm a little bit apprehensive about the mountain biking thing, but I can definitely get down with the road biking. Make sure to get on your level one day. I don't know. Take a while, man.
This is looking pretty good.
This looks great. Yeah, I'm digging I'm digging how you're dancing around between XD and Photoshop. For folks out there that that don't know the history of Ambert, he did kind of start in the time when things were kind of more cut and pasted and using the actual like the design process for print, which is a little different. But I think Photoshop is a really, really good kind of basis for where it all started. Like when I first started designing screens, I actually used Photoshop. So this was before XD was around, and it still has the capabilities of doing it. You're not able to prototype the same, but at least you were able to design screens. It's a different time. That was before the whole UX field was around, right? Now we have all these really cool tools to help us out. but Illustrator too. Illustrator was like, you know, anytime I needed any icons or anything, I still use Illustrator for that. It's just a kind of the mental connection of how to use the tool is just there, and I don't want to lose it too. That's the other thing. It's like I could totally do everything in XD, but sometimes it's really nice to continue to practice using Illustrator so you don't lose that ability, or to use Photoshop. Howard is chiming in. He said that's just Julian calling us old. It's like, hey, I'm okay with it, right? age is a construct, and you know, as long as we are accepting new music still, and
That's
trying
exactly true.
trying new things, then we're okay. But funny story, the only reason why I know how to use Photoshop is because of Howard. Right? He was his
Full
videos.
circle.
Yeah, man. His videos back in the day were the ones that taught me how to use Photoshop. So thank you, Howard. Yeah,
And I'm just copying and pasting this section here.
nice.
Go. And I'm going to drop in that new graphic that we just created. Boom.
Boom. See, like that, just drag and drop. Man, that's awesome.
Then we'll switch this up. Give it a little bit of a feel here.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks pretty great. Voodoo Val agrees. How you guys feeling about this? Is any and you want to do any live critique, give some feedback? I'm sure Ambert would be happy to hear your feedback.
Absolutely.
But I think it's really cool how you know, you continually show us like how you actively use the grid while you're making, just to kind of, you know, keep the base of your visual system kind of intact. Really important to do. It just, you can totally tell when like something has followed these rules and when they haven't. Like, even if it's a few pixels off, like you're like, you know, like a little nudge to the right, but this looks really great.
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we can probably like just, you know, close this off by maybe just adding in a footer or something. Just one small like little thing. Designing footers is like not my favorite thing at all. Like, I don't even know if people will even like use footers. Like, what's the point of it?
They just like, they just anchor the page.
So in my opinion, like if you just had your logo, a website, I mean, your contact button and done, like I'd be happy with that.
Right. People try to fit in like all this stuff on a footer.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see, you know, how many people actually use, you know, the footer as a, you know, form of navigation.
Right. But then you get rid of it and everyone will just be up in arms. Like, I can't believe you got rid of the footer. Like, they didn't use it anyway. We always want what we don't have. That's the problem. You're like, oh wait, but what if I need it?
Exactly.
Yeah, because I've always and I really find it cool when people do like you know, if you're looking at the Behance screen, like that's a really like compact footer on the screen. But then you see like websites that have like really big footers, and it's like interesting. Like, you know, it's pretty interesting to see. People have different preferences. Look at this coming together great. So what's our next step?
What I want to start doing is I want to start working on maybe this drop down.
Okay.
I think would be cool to start seeing what that looks like, so that start building some layers to the site.
Nice.
So I think that'll be the next step. And I like the idea of, especially with, you know, like websites like this, e-commerce sites where the, you know, the drop downs or, you know, the products are kind of categorized and also are easy to, you know, to kind of navigate. I'm not a huge fan of like these small little fonts, and then you kind of click on something and it takes, you know, if I'm already there, why can't I just select the product from there and just add it to my cart, maybe, like
Yeah.
idea of something like that would be kind of interesting.
Right.
So yeah, let's kind of explore that a little bit.
Nice. So when you get a chance to think about this question from Voodoo, is on the topic of like not liking how to design something, what else is it that you kind of just maybe have last on your list to design? Like what's one of the things that you kind of dread?
That's a good question. I think not that I necessarily dread, but I think obviously, wireframes aren't that fancy to design or fun to design, but you got to get it done just to make sure all the content is there. I think stuff like that is kind of the mundane stuff. At least for me, some people really enjoy kind of the UX part of it.
Right. You're in the visuals. You like
Yes.
putting all the pretty fixings on the bones of the project. See, you and I can jive. I'm on the other side. I actually really love doing wireframes. I'm yeah, totally. Like I that's where I kind of find my joy is like doing the kind of the UX work of what's the component supposed to do, and what does it connect to, and what is this module supposed to all that kind of stuff is what I like doing, and just like kind of detailing the guts of the experience and then letting someone else do the visuals. Sometimes for me, that's what that visuals is one of the harder things. I have more of a knack for the UX side of things and doing the research. But when you're in a moment where you have to do what you got to do, like we're all designers here. So, if Ambert needs to do wireframes, he'll kill it on wireframes.
Absolutely.
Versus like, if I need to do visuals, I'll do my best. I won't maybe not kill it, but I'll do my best. Yeah, just as a reminder, we do have 28 minutes till we have the artist spotlight countdown. So if you haven't seen what that is, we're just going to pull up a Behance of one of our amazing talents that are on our community, and showcase some work and talk about it. It's going to be inspiring. I haven't seen the work yet. I wanted to kind of leave the element of surprise. So we're going to be checking that out in 28 minutes.
Nice. So what I'm doing here is I'm just I'm designing a pretty much a full screen menu here of the kind of products tab. I'm kind of just looking for an image that I want to add in here. What I'd like to do is for this to here we go, for this to feel like so once you click on the products tab, you obviously have the kind of indicator that you're in the products, or hover. I want to categorize these products in here. So once you select one, the products show up, and maybe when you roll over, the image itself, changes, right? I think that'd be kind of cool to see.
Nice. That's amazing. Hello, Anime. Welcome to the show. So if you are just joining us or on YouTube and happen to be stumbling upon this video later, I'm here with Ambert Rodriguez. He is the creative director of Wheelhouse, and you can check him out at wheelhouse.io for all the work out in Miami. So Miami-based designer. I'm Julian. I'm a designer in Austin, Texas. And we are designing. I'm not doing anything, actually. I'm just talking. Ambert's designing the experience of what could it be for this brand Hyperice if you reimagined a redesign of their logo, their typeface logo, and a new mark, and also like potentially a new website. So it's an e-commerce focused experience. So I really love the detail that you're giving the with the grid, continuing that, showing off like how we've used Font Awesome for the iconography. There's tons of really great nuggets of information. So if you happen to miss day one, check it out. He has some really good ideas on how to incorporate those icons into your design. The nav bar is actually was something that was asked just a second ago. So that's something that was discussed. And so like the question about nav bar was like, what is your standard height? What do you like to do for your nav bars? Is there like a convention that you follow?
That's a good question. It depends like on the logo too. You know, if it's a wide logo, if it's a tall logo.
Yeah.
Um, um, but yeah, I mean, it really depends on that, and also kind of the amount of content that needs to go up there.
If they have a lot of pages, right? Like
Right.
depending on if there's like a big search that needs to happen. So yeah, I think I would agree. It just needs to be dependent on the website you're designing. Really,
Yeah.
it's kind of case by case. For like stylistic reasons, you can always, you know, you can, when people scroll down, you can make the nav bar smaller, right? There's ways to kind of incorporate some other types of interactions if you wanted to play with the dimensions of that. That's something that I like doing, is like maybe even hiding the nav when you scroll down, and then bring it
Yeah.
back when they scroll
Absolutely.
up,
When they
right?
scroll back up.
And those are really cool things that you can actually, you know, prototype and show people how it might look. So yeah, I think that's a really great question. And navs are they're going to be evolving forever. We're just, you know, we continually have different uses for them, and they can be very, very simple or very intricate.
Right. And what I'm going to do is, you know, there's going to be, you know, different kind of categories similar to this, like this. So, you know, a good way to kind of do that is, you know, you can do a repeat grid, or you can kind of group this and then maybe put it into, you know, a stack, and then just duplicate them down, and it'll stack down so that you can, you know, easily move them up and down. You know, there's a lot of ways of kind of doing that to kind of, you know, make the design process a little bit, you know, faster. So like, for example, if I clicked on repeat grid here and I wanted to, you know, add all of these different kind of, you know, categories, you know, it's pretty simple, right? So then I can take this, and it's, you know, the next category is obviously Armotech, right? And then the next category is spell that correctly? No.
Sphere.
There you go. Yeah, we got to play around with this a little bit, but yeah, I mean, the idea is there, right? Where
on the
you know,
grid, it's balanced.
We have this kind of grid here. Yeah,
that looks great. So to follow up on the question of what was maybe a project that didn't go well, or things that didn't go well, or what you don't maybe love designing, have you ever had a project that you just really loved and that you just wanted to continue, and you eventually had to maybe stop, but like a project that you're very proud of?
Yeah, I think there could be a few of them. I mean, super proud of this one project that I worked on in the past. It's a kind of a social good brand. They were called Thanks, THX. I was able to do all the design work for them from, you know, in the beginning, I did all the brand for them, which was cool. Even the logo itself ended up being in Logo Lounge, so it was like selected, which is really cool. And it was this whole idea of being able to like source products, selling them at cost, and then you'd be able to choose, or, you know, a little bit at cost. So the premise of this is, if I can give an example, is like a bag of coffee. They sell it for $12. You know, it costs $6 to make it, so that's kind of the cost fee. But then the other $6, you can choose any nonprofit that you like, any nonprofit in the United States, and you can donate that $6 to. And it's all done through the website. You know, we were able to design the entire website, build the whole user interface of like how to, how they were connected, looking for the nonprofits, the entire process of like communicating and like, oh, you gave this $6 to this nonprofit. If I like cycling, right, I can choose a nonprofit of, a nonprofit that gives, bikes to children and stuff like that. So
Right.
it personalizes it a bit.
Yeah, that's
so
really
that
cool.
was a cool project that I was a part of. Unfortunately they closed down. So, but that's one of the ones that I was really proud of and thought it was a really great project.
No, and I feel like the same. Like for me, the projects that mean the most are the projects that have the most impact, right? And it maybe that's also what drives you when you're in the project too. It's like, look, I want to make this the most like beautiful design because this company like really deserves it because they're doing a great thing. So like sometimes something happens when you are faced with like a design problem that you like really strongly are passionate about and support, that you just kind of your best stuff just comes out in those moments. I feel like you're kind of able to like level up and then just like and for me I can share like my current story actually. I've been so I'm a interaction designer at a company called Star, and we do digital stuff like digital agency stuff, so design build anywhere from websites to software. And I'm currently doing a really awesome map-based project that uses data regarding people's like building structures, companies' building structures that are affected by global warming or climate change. And so the really cool part about it is I'm designing this whole system, and it's just going so great. The product looks amazing, and being able to kind of ship that off to the client for me, which is super like a proud moment because I believe in climate change. I believe that we should know like what would happen if like a big earthquake happened, because that's the whole system is like a predictive system. But yeah, and for me, like I really believed in the message that they were delivering and the product that they were trying to build. So it just made me just completely more attuned to like being passionate about it and connecting my everything I had into like, all right, I want to make this the best possible product. I try to bring that energy to everything I do, and I'm sure Ambert does as well. Like we always do our best and strive for the best possible outcome. But there's something that's about the motivation of the brand that you're actually representing that does something to the way you work. It's just really inspiring to see companies that are making an impact out there.
Absolutely, and yeah, I mean, and if you believe in the project, you believe in what you're working on, or you have some kind of affinity to it, I mean, you do the best work then. So, absolutely.
Yeah, welcome all the new people that are joining the chat. We have 18 minutes left roughly until we're going to be doing the artist spotlight. So make sure to stay tuned for that. We're going to give a live kind of just overview of an amazing artist in our community on Behance. And if you are interested, I would really encourage you to join Jesse Showalter on our Creative Design Challenge with XD. It's every day at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And so if you have access to the source files, if you just go to the page to take part, and it's right there actually on the top of your chat right there, register for the Creative Challenge. You can't miss it. So if you look at the top, click that link and then join the Creative Challenge and then take part. There's going to be new design challenges every day. So definitely take advantage of that resource. And we are here with Ambert Rodriguez. If you are just joining us, he is the creative director of Wheelhouse IO, and just an all-around awesome dude. Because I yesterday he did the no hat look, and today I'm doing the no hat look, and we are just two follically challenged brothers here, just hanging out designing.
Nice.
Yeah, I highly recommend the challenges. Like they do so much good stuff. I've actually, no joke, I have seen a designer take those challenges and actually get a job at Microsoft just based off her portfolio, having strictly done design challenges. Because we are in a field, UX UI, where you can really bolster your portfolio and get a really great gig without having to go to school. Like no joke, I'm this is like really a great time to get into design if you're kind of on the fence about just diving in. uh, this it's one of those roles where you can actually get in without a college degree, which is something that you and I have kind of talked about it lightly. um, you didn't go did you go to a design school to like learn design, or what is life your design?
It's life is my design, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, I went to a tech school for web design. This was in 1998, so a long time ago.
yeah,
Before there was even like cascading style sheets and all. This was just like
yeah.
hard HTML. And so, yeah, you know, yeah, and but you just continue to learn, continue to read, continue to research, continue to challenge yourself. You see something new that you like. We spoke about this yesterday, but you see some kind of website you like, or you see some kind of app that is designed a certain way. Try to reverse engineer it. Try to
Hmm.
design it yourself. For fun, right? And just build on your skills, like continue to try and learn something at all times.
That's it.
I think this
Totally. It's
definitely.
trial and error, right? Like, and I also would say, like, if you are kind of like a little bit more confident in your abilities and you feel like, I can maybe take on some clients, like, ask your friends, like, do you know people that have a website that they need to get redesigned? Like, take a stab at it.
Absolutely.
Like, try redesigning it. And it might not be for you the easiest thing to get built, but that's what there's people out there that could do that for you. There's also what you see is what you get tools, WYSIWYGs, you can
Mm.
call them. So there's tools like ReadyMag, there's tools like Webflow, there's
Webflow's great.
yeah, all kinds of, I can't even remember all of them. There's tons of services out there. And actually there's plugins in some of these as well for XD. And you can design all your pages in XD and then export any assets that you might have created. But then you can translate those designs in something like Webflow, and make a website by yourself. So I would encourage you to try and kind of just put yourself out there. That's how we did it. Like, Ambert, trial and error, kind of, now he's killing it as at his agency. And for me, like, I actually went the other route. So and this is a great juxtaposition of stories. Is I was in a completely different career from design. I was in real estate and mortgage before design, and for me, I just really was interested, and I tried to learn myself, and it was really hard, and didn't feel like I had all the resources available. So I actually went to school. So, design school is an option. It's expensive. I'm definitely going to be paying for it for a very long time. But for me, like, I'm the kind of learner that I need to actually have money on the line, or else it won't work. Like, I feel like I had to pay the money to feel like pressure to perform. So yeah. So we are streaming. Let's see what happened to the screen.
A second.
I will share my screen.
Yeah, not sure.
All right. Little technical glitch here. So if you were to hop over to my screen, I can show you something really quickly that I've been kind of advocating for, is just like the beauty of the creative challenge and being able to come to this community, and this is what I'm going to show you. Like, what's really great about it is being able to accept this invite to Discord and have this resource for yourself. Uh, Once you download the source code, or the source file, you work on that in XD, and then you have this whole community here. You have the challenges, um, and so people are submitting work all the time here, and you can too. And this is a great way for you to get feedback on your designs. Anytime you have something in process, show it here. share it here, get feedback, and try to iterate. So this is from yesterday's challenge. So there's all kinds of cool stuff going on there. And then we have, yeah, really, really awesome stuff here. And pretty soon we're going to be showing you the artist spotlight. So that's kind of taking you to another level of how to then take your designs to the next level and kind of see how people are actually doing it in real time as designers on Behance. I can actually then show you, let's see, I'll show you my stuff. So this was an opportunity to show you what I worked on when I was hosting the Creative Challenge. I actually created this as one of the final outputs. We walked through a bunch of different sessions of building some sort of app or service, and I chose this one. So, and this is something I did that you can actually create on the screen or with your instructor. Jesse is going to be the man for you right now. And so these are all screens that I made. Yeah. So you do your design systems. We walked you through how to do a onboarding flow, did the key screens for how, like, and this was like during fire season in California, and I just like was inspired to do AQI monitor. But yeah, let's see. Here. Yeah, we can bring it back. Let's bring Ambert's screen in, and so you can continue showing what he was working on. All right.
Awesome. So I wanted to show you guys kind of where I'm kind of landing now. So before I go into any kind of prototyping or anything like this, you know, I want to design it all out. Even show kind of what you know, a selected state would look like, or even hover. So this is the idea of, you know, you hovered on the products tab, you get your drop down, you have all of your products kind of broken down by categories, and then, you know, in these subcategories, then you have your actual products, right? So the idea here is that once you select Hypervolt, then you have your Hypervolt products.
Yeah.
You know, you have your Hypervolt Plus, your Hypervolt Go, nice. Or you can click all, right, and then take you to the product landing page to see all of them, or you can just go directly to those product pages. Nice. I like the idea of like maybe just bolding it a little bit, you know, as you have them selected, and then once you get kind of like to that end spot, you know, we got like a little arrow that's going to kind of take you there. Mm-hmm. I also want to change out this photo anytime you roll over something. And so I think that's going to be kind of the next step here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe just you know, see if I can prototype this here before nice. The end of the stream.
Yeah, we got 7 minutes before the artist spotlight, so you can get as much done in that time. But we'll have a little bit of time after that to kind of put some final touches and walk people through the process that you've done from yesterday and today. Would be great. So leave yourself enough time for whatever you can. Yeah, awesome. I'm already seeing the direction. This is looking great.
Good stuff.
There is a conversation of dark mode in this. Like, would that be something that you would ever translate into a web product like this, into a website?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, if it was an app or something like that, yeah, we can definitely, you know, think about, you know, bringing that into dark mode. And I think the simplicity of this is because it's just, you know, text, yeah, straight images. And backgrounds. It would be super simple to change.
Yeah, that's really great. I love that moment when you see something switch from light to dark. Yeah, it's really cool. It's also like a new, just like, you know, a new way of experiencing websites. Like I was doing like a dark mode concept, and it was just like, you know, what if you're doing a modal? Because normally, like dark mode or in normal mode, like a modal would mean that the background layer gets dark, but you have to still do the same thing for dark mode. So there's things that you have to think about. It's really cool. It's a different type of problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so folks, if you're just joining us, we're not done yet. We still got about 35 minutes left in the show. I'm here with Ambert Rodriguez. He is the creative director of Wheelhouse IO. And we are currently designing a e-commerce experience for Hyperice, which is a performance tool for professional or just really serious athletes, or people that use their muscles and want to get some increase their return time to be able to come back and recover faster. So it's just like kind of like hits your muscles, right? And like kind of like a massager, but like it has a lot more. It obviously looks great, right? Like, so there's intention around this product as a visual design. It's an industrial design object. It looks beautiful, right?
Designed beautifully, yes, absolutely.
And you have one.
I do have one. I have the Hypervolt Go. It's one of my favorite things to do. When I get home from a long ride or anything like that. Even if like I have like just dealing with like a little sore muscle or something on my back. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
big fan.
People really want XD to have a dark mode. That's a really cool feature though. It's a lot better on your eyes sometimes. But yeah, man, I feel like, all right, now I feel like I need to get to a level where I would need a Hyperice because I'm not nearly as active right now. I'm still kind of rocking the pandemic dad bod. I feel like I've had since before the pandemic. So that was like that one moment when Will Smith posted that photo of him.
Oh, that's right.
Like it just made me so validated. And then I'm like, nah. Then he's gonna get in shape, and I'm just gonna look like the same.
That's hilarious.
So 4 minutes until we have our artist spotlight. So you still got some prototyping time. It's currently working through default states, and so using component states to then create some interactivity here. So this is one of those cool moments when you're kind of playing with some things, and then you just like hit play, and then it just does some really cool stuff. And it's always trial and error, right? You can like play with timing and all that.
Yep.
Working with the layers like that. Yeah.
So just playing with like what this would look like. So really quick, just wanted to see. So as a rollover, I think that looks great. But what I don't want to do here is I want it to, I'm going to go to the prototype here. I don't want it to auto animate. I want it to, just transition none.
A faster, kind of more
faster, and it just feels a little cleaner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah. So then there's the hover state has the bold and then an arrow, right?
The hover, the bold and an arrow. So basically I just have my default and hover state. You can see it here on the component states here. On hover, I have the arrow, and then on default state, you don't have it.
Okay. That's really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of asks for people wanting dark mode. It's such a hot topic. Yeah. I personally I love Adobe as is. I think there's some really great tools. The functionality that I would like is like incorporating I know that they've thought about like the structure of it and how if you can add pages to one document, but you can make your artboards really big, and you can add all your content, and you can kind of have different files that you can kind of combine and work with. For me, that would be like a workflow type of thing that is kind of, and then also allowing non-owners of a file to update the prototype link.
Yes, that's a big one. That's a big one.
One day I feel like there's so many things to work on. Like the team is constantly evolving the tool. And as designers, we're constantly needing new things. So
and that's the one thing I do love about XD also is just the how fast the team is, adding new features, listening to the community and all of that. I think that's a huge plus.
Yeah, it's come so far in such little time. Like, thinking about like this wasn't around like 6 years ago, and now it's just huge. Oh, look, Howard Pinsky Pages is in the work. Ooh, look at that. I love it. From the source.
From the
Massive project.
source.
I can't wait. Yeah, that's and I think it's not even like a function of making the tool like perform better. It's for like organizationally, like sometimes it's just keeping things organized is that's the core challenge for a team that is collaborative, and that's something that like would be really really cool. So in coming up on 28 seconds, half a minute, we're going to be checking out the artist spotlight of the day. Can't wait to show you. But Amber's still doing this thing, and then once we come back, we'll kind of dive in and see what this is looking like. So can't wait to kind of show you and then give you an overview of everything else he's done today. That looks awesome. We'll see
cool.
see the whole thing unfold. All right, so I am going to share my screen. And all right, so let's check out today's artist spotlight. So we have today Fergie. So Fergie is an experienced design lead. So you can check out her work at fergie.design from United Kingdom. So we are in this an Adobe and XD ambassador. So she's real, right?
Wow.
She's doing big things. So let's look at some stuff. So I always obviously like to look at the most recent things first, because that's just like the latest and greatest is always good to see. So this is a new creating a book club app with XD and Bravo Studio. No code, nice. Adobe XD, Bravo Studio. So looks like there's a video here, so we could play that. Most likely going to be an animation. Oh, it's a time lapse of the process.
Ooh, I love time lapse.
So that's something that if you're in the chat and you're curious about like how some of these can play out, like this is right here. Like this is the process from start to finish. You get to. I feel like I want to talk faster because this is moving faster.
One thing I did want to just call out right away is the menu on the bottom right hand corner. Mm-hmm. that was added there.
Yeah,
I love that because you obviously have your thumb there. It's easy to tap. I love that little.
I think that pattern is something that like is for me. Oh, she's using Google Sheets. Look at that. Like, see, wow. This is the Google Sheets plugin.
Is this that plugin that you were talking about?
Yeah. So you create your assets to have these title names. Look at what's going on. She got a lot going on here. I'm like, I can't even follow, but it looks cool. All right, I'm about to get a seizure, so I'm gonna go down. So the UX awesome. Book Club. We joined together and shared of interest in UX to read as a group and discuss what we're learning. So I'm not going to read all of that, but this is kind of like the overview of this app is being able to utilize multiple tools to create one prototype. So that's really great. So Bravo is another type of service there's plugins for where you can get your designs kind of in sync and actually have edited like fully clickable and really like almost like real code. Really, really great project there. Have you played with Bravo before?
I've never played with Bravo. It's the first time looking at it.
Yeah, it's a kind of a newer tool. I highly recommend checking it out. It's a really great way to kind of streamline some of your interactive designs to make them kind of real. Like it's kind of real-ish code, I believe.
Got it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's check out Fortuna Coffee.
Nice.
Product design stuff. So this is stuff that you also do, right? In your time is, product mock-ups, right? A lot of that kind of
consumer goods. Yeah, a bunch of products. Yeah, we spoke about it yesterday too. Like if I had a chance to show this Illustrator plugin that they use to mock up some of these products and stuff like that. So
and there's the competitive kind of analysis that people do, like
nice.
At least in mood boarding, like-minded products, things that you're kind of inspired by. So like showing typeface and context is really cool, and different playing with different ideas of the logo in your presentation. So this is a really good way to kind of show your process it's just for me, like it just looks really great to be able to see people's thinking. So it looks like they went with a combination of two typefaces here, Adobe Standard and Branded Grotesque. And then the color palette, and then you got a logo and the mark.
Nice.
Very, very clean, simple design. Love how it looks on products. Just very classy. I like that gold.
Feels very high end.
Very high end. Yeah, I would probably assume like $15 a bag of coffee.
Right. more like 25 or something.
Maybe 25. Okay, yeah, they're on that other level. And then they got some. She got some screens here for the mobile app.
Yeah.
So you can kind of.
It looks like there's like some animations there with the cup filling up. Maybe that's like if you scroll up a little. Oh, there we go. We'll see it here.
We're gonna see it here. So, yeah, this is a very, very complex system.
There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Nice.
That's cool. And this is all done prototyping in Adobe XD. So you can definitely do 3D translations and use a 3D transform tool. So you can have 3D animations, right? Like that's the next level. Let's see what she got here. Oh, she's got like really cool like ways to do like glass effects. That's really cool. Let's see what else we're gonna look at here. I like anything catching your eye? Anything you want to take a look at? Maybe Mario.
Super Mario brings me back. Yeah, let's check that out.
Look at that. This is an interactive prototype. Oh, okay, that's cool. So you can actually like go up and down, A, B. Oh, I'm actually starting. Look at that.
Oh, look at that. That's cool.
You can actually play the game. That's awesome. All right, I'm not going to bore you with my poor game playing, but really cool, like being able to see this whole thing come to life in this way, and just kind of going retro with it and showing the diverse, like, you know, visual design skill. Like, you know, it is a challenge to kind of shift your brain from something that's so like high end, like a coffee brand that charges $25 for a bag of coffee, to a video game and having, you know, the ability to kind of step down and use inspirations from your, you know, from us, nostalgia. But this looks great.
I even love the layout of this, like the little clouds floating everywhere. I think that's great.
It's very, very reminiscent of like just my childhood. Like I love Mario's. I actually got my daughter into the new version on, and she just can't put it down. So and mainly because I want to pick it up with her and play. But yeah, she's done a great work. So it looks like kind of in the space that you're familiar with, like, you know, more marketing side, you know, a lot of visual design that's kind of geared towards, you know, product that is web-based. But this looks like a Sprinkles Cupcakes kind of inspired. Build your own cupcake.
Nice.
Don't give me this. You can handle this because you've burned my colors. But being able to like create your own cupcake is just next level.
I click on that. I'd love to see what that looks like.
This is the interactive prototype. So let's see how it works. See how this thing works. Come on, load. If it loads. Maybe my internet's not fast. All right. Yeah, there it goes.
There we go. Nice.
So sometimes the hard part is finding like what's clickable, but you know, you have this mouse cursor to kind of guide you. So you could choose from top to bottom. This is great UX, right? So you want to know like from top to bottom what's available. So I'm going to choose that. Let's see.
Cream cheese, red velvet. Oh, that's match made in heaven right there.
I'm gonna go red velvet with that, and then a strawberry, and
that's
then
awesome.
add some sprinkles, and then buy it. Done. That's awesome.
That's really cool. Very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I really would encourage you to check out Fergie's page on Behance. I'm sure it's being shared right now in the chat. And check out her designs and how she works. Follow her, send her a message, engage. You know, this is a really, really rich community, and the only way that you're gonna kind of improve upon your skills is kind of interacting with others and getting feedback. If you can get, you know, Fergie to give some feedback, that would be amazing. She's a really, really talented designer out there in the UK. So I'm actually just going to hand it back to Ambert so we can continue with our you know, with our designs, I'm adopting it. I know you said it's not me. It's, you know, it's you, but it's us. We're together. Oh, okay. And if you wouldn't mind, I'm gonna pop that up. So I'm sharing the Fergie's design if you wanted to check it out and take a look at it. But Ambert is gonna show his screen.
All right.
Cool. So we're back in effect. So the last thing I remember you doing was kind of doing more component states, and being able to visualize like how the state change can occur with that side image.
Yep.
Do you think you can show folks that might not know how you did that, how you did it?
Yeah. So I might not have done it the exact correct way, but there's, you know, the different ways of kind of doing it. So like,
there's no right way.
The whole idea is, you know, with these kind of layers of kind of components or states is, or multi-level kind of menus is, you know, you kind of want to have it all designed out first,
Yeah.
and then go backwards, right? So then start creating, you know, the components, you know, backwards, and then adding those components within the other components. So
right.
I completely designed out the entire, you know, drop-down menu all the way down. So now the idea is to start going backwards. So now what I did was I just made these, you know, the secondary menu, created the components, created the hover states with the image, with the arrow and the bolding. And then, you know, you can just continue that all the way down. And then now the next step is to now change, is to now add this sublayer to the next component, right? So I'm going to now just, you know, make this here a new component for the menu. I'm going to give it a default, a hover state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so to be able to, what Ambert is saying is you kind of create your expanded version of that component. So this whole thing is a drop down, right? And so it looks like what the intention is also is this is like a full viewport drop down, which is a totally really cool you know, modern approach to a drop down versus, you know, having like a kind of like a 50% drop down, but because we're using full size, at least full height images, full viewport height images, and that's great because it responds if you wanted to set that as a rule for your design, and then you're able to then kind of create these states to subtract away some of this content. That way, basically all your animations are ready to go. So it's a really smart way to work in terms of workflow. So kind of just design that full expanded final state that you intend to happen, and then kind of work backwards from there. So yeah, I do the same thing. So I don't know if it's wrong or right. I totally agree. Because it's really, you know, especially when you're designing, you know, for someone who you're walking through your screens, or handing a file over to somebody that might not have seen like how you've, you know, created it, if it's not a prototype. You know, you want to usually show them all the screens that are laid out. So this is also just a good way to kind of have that be something that you can accomplish. You just create multiple artboards if you want, and have expanded versions of your states and collapsed versions of your states. It's really cool. Look at that. That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, as you come here, then obviously, you know, you would continue to scroll down and have different menus there. So yeah, there's something a little bit wrong here that is not continuing to show the, so on hover state. Yeah, right there. Probably something I want to do too is maybe even change the photo on this level as well. That would be interesting.
Oh yeah, so you have like kind of like an overarching version of the photo, and then everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
So far, so good.
there's tons of ways, right? Like to kind of create these states out, but the way that you've chose to do it is going to, you know, set you up later, so that way you can kind of use these same styles uh, for other hover states and whatnot. This looks really cool.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Everyone. So if anybody is just joining us, we have about 15 minutes left in our chat with Ambert. When we're right now, Ambert is showing us the kind of getting towards the final version of this page, which is the redesign for Hyperice. And if you aren't familiar, it's a really cool high performance tool for athletes or high performers, people who just kind of need some recovery on their muscles. But you know, the way that the brand started and where it's at right now, you know, this is definitely a great vision of what can be for this product. So I highly recommend people to check out the page, and also just check out Ambert's work. You could just scroll up in the chat. It's been shared before, but he's on Behance. Check out wheelhouse.io if you want to see the work that he's done from his agency that he's the creative director at. Tons of great stuff there, and just great resources on Behance as well. So yeah, we're approaching about 15 minutes left. So we're at that time. So if you have any questions for Ambert, anything that's on your mind regarding the process, the tool, this actual prototype, happy to answer those questions for you.
Awesome. So what I did here was I just created kind of what the dropdown would feel like. So if you're looking at the website, you were to hover over products, you have your nice full kind of screen dropdown. You got your hypervolt. You got all the different categories. All of this here where they would all kind of be different.
Yeah.
Rollovers, and then you can obviously go down through these as well.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's looking pretty good. I mean, there's obviously like little things there I would want to kind of update a little bit, but yeah. I think the idea is there, right? I think it's really nice. So,
and if you were to like say copy that progressive therapy component, would it? Yeah. It would borrow the same attributes.
It would borrow the same attributes. Yeah. So then I could just rename it, Normatech,
right.
Hypersphere and all of that.
Right. And then you would just kind of swap out the images and it's good to go.
Yes. Images and text. Yep. But that's it. Yeah, the idea is obviously to kind of, pre-design it before you kind of, so yeah, you kind of want to have like all the other, content there just so you can kind of make sure that, what you're designing makes sense.
Right.
And then you can just go back now and just delete those and then just duplicate all of that all of the other, menu items there.
That's awesome. So you have a little bit of time. What do you want to do with your remainder? Do you want to do show us anything, or do you want to?
Yeah, I think the idea here now is maybe just do a quick maybe add to cart checkout, or something like this. I think that would be ideal to have on here.
Yeah, completing that
like slider that comes out or something like that.
The little pop-up of some sort, like modal.
Yeah, a little modal. Maybe we could just do it from here. But yeah, let's just see how we can kind of want to maybe do this.
Yeah, that's those modals and things like that. They're like those little things are just like, I really like making those. Like
me too.
I don't know what, like cards. I could design a card like all day for some reason. Like little things like that just kind of get me.
Yeah.
They're like just using spacing and using your grid is just like, when you see it, you're like, man, I made that. Like
Absolutely.
It's really cool. It's really cool when you do that. I'm loving the banter in the chat. By the way, I'm just Voodoo Val and Robzilla going, catching up, reminiscing. I remember meeting Voodoo Val in person in the studio, and actually I met Robzilla too. Really, really, really great people.
Nice.
Such a cool community this Adobe Behance has created. So many friends. Howard Pinsky, right? Like that was your original host. Love it.
Yes. Howard Pinsky and I go back quite a long time.
Yeah. That's it's really cool to know that you guys have kind of connected before. That's awesome. And also just to remind folks that after the stream, you still have another really great resource for you. And so I really highly encourage you to check out the new set of challenges by Jesse Showalter. And he is going to walk you through the newest of the challenges and challenge you for whatever you want to push yourself to do. And like I've said in the past, it's not a competition. It's just strictly a collaboration between you, Jesse, and the community on Discord. So if you are interested, please check out the creative challenge for this. There's 2 of them up, and every day at 2 o'clock there will be a new challenge for you. So definitely keep coming back for it. And just dropping images in boxes.
Dropping them in.
Just like that, and they resize and everything,
I love it.
Still following the grid too. See that? Look, Fergie's in the house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we got the star of the show is meeting the star of the artist spotlight. So thanks for being here. Your work is amazing. We really enjoyed talking about it. I hope you were here for it. We were, and so was the audience. So it was really cool to see that. So the idea behind this is just to kind of show what what products you might be adding to your cart, correct?
Correct.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then just like maybe I don't even know what the price of this is, but let's just say it's $190. I don't know. Yeah, you just gotta think through a little bit of like what kind of content is normally in kind of these like little drop downs or these modules. I'm gonna give this just an outline for now, just so I can see it. So want to add in here a, again, this is font awesome. So I'll put a times, we can close it out, a little, X out.
So I wanted to give enough time to possibly kind of go over what you've done over the last 2 days. So is that you're at a point right now you want to be able to show people what you've done, or do you want to come back to that in a sec?
Give me two minutes. Let me just finish up this here, and then I think we should be good.
And I will second the chat that Super Mario project was super cool. So Fergie, thank you for making it, because it just for us, we both kind of were nostalgic about how real it felt to the original design. It was so cool, and I played it, so it was I wasn't very good, but I'll try again. That was really cool.
Great. All right, so here's a good example of another repeat grid. Go.
Look at that. So then and what you do is you combine it, create a component, and then be able to just kind of bring it up and it gets clicked.
Yeah, so I mean, the idea here is that obviously, you don't want to leave anything to assumption. You wanna kind of design everything out. Let me just maybe kind of give this a little bit of a shadow here.
Put a little curve on it.
Where'd my shadow go? Oh, there it is. Little bit of a color here. It's not so.
That's cool. Look at that.
Yeah, looks nice.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, so just to kind of recap, you know, we designed a new look and feel for a hyper-ice brand. We went through the, you know, entire website kind of process of what that looks like from beginning to end. You know, getting the client in, understanding kind of the you know, the user flows, designing some wireframes, and then we, you know, had the design this entire kind of website from beginning to end, right? Gave it a good look and feel, and then also played around with some interactivities with drop downs and prototyping.
That's awesome. And what's the next step for this project?
Next step from here would continue to build out, you know, the you know, the rest of the product description pages and all of that, and then you know, obviously hand it over to the client if it was a real client project. So for me, it would be adding it to Behance next too as well. Nice,
awesome. Well, we are at the end of our 2-day stream, man. It was really cool hanging out with you and everybody in the chat. Any final words you want to say to everybody?
No, I appreciate the time. I appreciate you know, being able to share the, you know, the knowledge that I know, and obviously if anybody has any questions, you know, reach out. I'd be happy to connect with anybody and maybe hear your feedback as well.
Well, it's been a fantastic time hanging out with you, and I really appreciate it. Everybody, thank you for being here, and make sure to stay tuned for the XD Creative Challenge coming up right after this with Jesse Showalter, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.